How are they going to judge me what's inside my head and the whole history that I've got from when I'm 15? That's they're gonna be able to judge that in what, a 30-minute session? I don't think it's going to be good for me, actually. I think they're going to be unhappy with me.
Danny has severe mental health problems. He's got bipolar disorder and Asperger's, and he's never been able to do a proper job. Sometimes his depression is so bad he can't leave the house for days. He's just found out he's being retested to see if he should keep getting benefits for his disabilities. He's one of 2.6 million people in the UK who are on benefits for physical disabilities and mental health problems. The government is retesting everyone to see if they should keep getting their money. Thousands of people have been protesting against the new system.
And why are you here today?
I've got a son that's got schizophrenia and I'm a carer, so I'm speaking on his behalf, yeah.
People with mental health problems say the test is unfair and is too basic to assess whether or not they can work.
Don't take away our welfare! It's just frightening because some of them find hardship anyway, and then if they get just their cuts, their disability living allowance or anything cut, that's very frightening for them.
They're accusing the government of deliberately changing the test so that more people fail it.
Sometime in the next couple of years, I'm going to have to go through this assessment process again. And I know from information that I've been provided with that they've set the bar much higher. It's going to be that much harder to qualify. And even if you do qualify for the new employment support allowance, you will then still be harassed.
Alistair Campbell knows what it's like to try and work when you've got mental health problems.
I, for example, find that when I'm in if I'm in a bad depressive state, people will always say to you, what's wrong, what triggered it, blah-de-blah-de-blah. Now, one, you probably don't know, but two, it's really, really hard to literally to speak. You don't want to talk about it. You don't want to talk about anything. My worry in relation to the new assessments that are being done is that it's perfectly possible that the assessment will be done on a day when somebody who gets a really bad depression isn't depressed.
Kalia Franklin is a disability activist. She's in touch with lots of people who are worried about losing their benefits.
It was needed to look at whether some disabled people could work under certain circumstances. And the problem is that the assessment is so focused on what people can do that it doesn't assess what they can't do, and it doesn't really bear a realistic relationship to day-to-day life.
It's the morning of Danny's test.
No. No, fuck off.
If he doesn't pass it, he'll be taken off his benefit. The government employs a private company, Atos, to do the test.
And I can just imagine anything to do with the job centre. It's usually angry people dealing with you. Like they don't want you to be there or something.
Danny's going into the test knowing that 40% of people fail. So many people win on appeal that the government has been forced to change the test.
We gave ourselves a year first to invite in an independent expert, Professor Harrington, to look at what was going wrong, and then the rest of that year to get the recommendations in place. And as we stand now, all but one of Professor Harrington's recommendations have already been implemented, and the other one is due to be implemented within the next fortnight.
Have Atos been given any targets in terms of the number of people that they're trying to get off benefits?
This is a popular myth. There are no financial targets for Atos. They have no goals to get people into work, and actually because they're not taking the decisions, it wouldn't be a lot of use to them if they did, because it's down to Job Centre Plus decision makers to look at all of the evidence and decide what the right way forward is.
Professor Harrington was the expert the government asked to come up with ways to improve the test.
I think the Atos assessment has a place in the overall scheme of things, but only a place. When I came to look at this last year, it dominated the whole exercise, to the extent that most decision makers merely rubber-stamped the Atos assessment and just went straight through. And a number of people didn't like the assessment who went through it and appealed against it. What I want to have happen now is the Atos assessment with some improvements I want to make there as well, will be part of the process that the decision makers will work with. Decision makers will collect additional information, medical information, healthcare information, talk to the claimant, and then with the ATOS assessment will enable them to do what their job title suggests they should do, which is make a decision.
The government admits the system isn't working. They say they're in the process of changing it and that all of Professor Harrington's recommendations will be in place by the end of June. But we're talking about a complete overhaul of the assessment procedure here. Until they can fix it, people like Danny will be forced through a broken system, and many people fear they'll never be treated fairly. I went into the test with Danny, but they wouldn't let us film it. The person testing Danny was a nurse and had no mental health training. This was Danny's only chance to explain how his problems affect his ability to work.
Just that it wasn't a psychologist or a GP, or it was just a nurse. He was basically typing away, typing data in. Click, I don't know what he was doing. He was just asking me a few questions. It was really short. It was 20 minutes at the most, which I thought was quite a short time to gauge someone psychologically. On a really bad day, I wouldn't have been able to go there. I'd be at home, hiding. But if they want to, they need to take my whole history into account. My doctor's the one who knows that. So if my doctor's giving me the sick note saying you're not well enough to work, then you'd think that would be enough, because she sees me regularly. She knows what I'm doing or how I'm feeling, and tell her everything in confidence, you know. So she's the one who knows. I don't see how 20 minutes is gonna, little 20 minutes, a few chit chat is gonna be able to tell her whether I'm fit for work or not.
The ATOS test is only supposed to be one part of the assessment. The decision makers should look at evidence from Danny's doctor as well. But in practice, the ATOS test has always carried the most weight. That's what the government told us they would change. That doesn't help Danny, though, or thousands of people like him who are still being tested every week under the old system.